So the last couple weeks, I've been working to learn more about what works for my own personal marketing. I'm actually looking to become a financial advisor after college, and I chose to take this opportunity to learn what marketing strategies are going to work best for marketing for myself. My primary goals are to, one, learn what type of marketing strategy works best for me, and two, to start gathering an audience. While my social media marketing strategy had some really minor adjustments to fit different social media platforms, overall the strategy did stay fairly consistent. My strategy was to educate my audience and break it up with a little bit of humor throughout. I most often would post educational or DIY type content for my audience to implement some of my tips to start managing their own finances. But I would have a day or two within the week where I would post something that kind of plays off of a happy emotion. For instance, I would post something like a video explaining stocks and how to invest in them, but then keep things lighthearted as well by posting something like this puppy here who obviously is not a fan of Mondays. If I were to claim that I successfully achieved my goals, I would say I was honestly lying. But I have definitely learned a lot in this process. For my goal of learning what marketing strategies work well for me, I've figured out that different platforms require different posting strategies for different posts. Most of the time I would post the same photo or same video to each platform, and it allowed me to kind of figure out what works for different platforms and what needed to be changed. For example, I created this flyer here with all the services I plan to provide, and I posted it to all my platforms. This post did really well on Pinterest and Twitter. The other accounts didn't do quite so well. Some of them performed better whenever I had funnier posts that were less serious. For example, I actually ended up posting this open-ended question asking what your favorite joke was, and it did it really well on Instagram. So often I would do an open-ended question as a post just to push for some engagement. While I didn't get comments on these posts, they did make a good impression across all of my platforms. My second goal, though, of gathering an audience, I honestly performed really poorly on. My following on all of my platforms did not really increase, and if they did, it was just by a handful of followers. Although I did not gain followers, there were still people interacting with my posts, which is good. It is a good sign that they could potentially be followers one day and interact with me more often. So I will just have to work with that and keep posting. To get a good idea of how I wanted to structure my post and my page, I did some reverse engineering. Some of the most influential profiles for me were Investopedia, Fidelity Investments, and Yahoo Finance. I especially like the posts from them because they were meant to inform and educate the audience, and I kind of like that. The overall goal of my posts was to educate my audience and provide them with entertainment. So to accomplish this, I actually combined a serious tone with more of a humorous tone. My posts had a formal and trustworthy tone to educate them on their finances, but there were also other posts that played off of their emotions just to kind of capture their attention. The type of post that performed best for me depended really on the platform that was being analyzed. Overall, my cute and funny pet posts performed the best. As you can see here, my cat video above me and next to me to my left here, the savings tracker, they were my two best posts. My next best post after that was a question to my viewers. It read, if money were no object, how would you spend your time? So these types of posts work towards my goal because they either educated my audience or they entertained them. So my best social media channels were YouTube, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. My worst social media channel, though, was Facebook. I got next to no interaction on that. I would say Facebook was probably the worst because my content was honestly too serious for that channel. If there was less serious and less informative content and a lot more fun content, I probably would have performed a little bit better. So that would be something I could fix in the future. YouTube, Pinterest, and LinkedIn performed the best because I provided YouTube with a good variety of content. Pinterest and LinkedIn, I focused more being informative and educational. So while I did not use an organizing software like Hootsuite, I did observe the analytics of my posts, and with the analytics that are provided from each, I do think it was a good idea for me personally to refrain from using an organization software like Hootsuite just because it required me to go in and check my posts every day, whereas I might not have done that if they were scheduled in advance. It's more than likely that I would not have done that, honestly. Whenever I would check the analytics of my posts almost daily, I would figure out what was working for me, what wasn't, if something got noticed, if something got more interaction, less interaction, I could know what to create, like create something similar or create something completely different just because what I'd had before didn't react well. This strategy of observing my analytics honestly really helped me to reach my goal of providing my audience with entertaining content because it honestly made them want to return to my pages because I was giving them content that they enjoyed. So now on to things I've learned. So while implementing my social media marketing strategy to each of my platforms, I honestly learned an interesting handful of things. One of the biggest things that I had learned was that each social media platform is extremely different. They not only perform different, but they require different types of content just to become successful on the platform. People also usually like to use different platforms for different types of entertainment. So it's really good to adjust your content according to how that platform is commonly used. So another thing that I also learned is that it's really important to observe those post analytics. I mean, it makes sense, but I honestly would have never thought of this before. Just because you send a post and if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. It's kind of how I used to think, but I've realized that it's extremely important just so you can build your audience and so that way your posts are working for you, not against you. So finally, I also learned that building your social media account takes time. It takes a lot of time. So to become successful when promoting myself on social media, I'll definitely need to continue posting and keeping track of my analytics. I can figure out what accounts work best for me long term, and I can focus on them and post more to those accounts, and post less to the accounts that don't make as much of an impression for me. But I think that will be very beneficial. Thanks.